Okay. Which topic I was discussing? Structure. This is the point I was mentioned in my 30 days workshop, which the first thing you have to identify the paper as a format. Normally, this strategy I follow. I'll find one good article or paper which is very good in, for example, for this purpose, I'll show that which paper I have considered as a format. You can look it here. This one, experiment 3, so I have written experiment 1. So normal I do this. I read all the articles. I'll check all the articles, not detail. I don't lie. It's okay. I'll just glance the all the articles and I'll which paper find very interesting. I'll take up that and I'll rename as important or experimental, whatever it is. Because I use those paper as a format. Okay. Structure of the paper. I'll write same structure for my paper. And again, I'll check the quality and the this one, the quartile, whether it is A, B, T, C, A star, and Q1, all those. This is very good in terms of format result, very scientific and very rigorous. So I'll say I will follow same format for my paper. Okay, this is so. So this is the way I follow normally. If you do not find any structure, if you do not get which format I have to follow, then you can take help of Gen. You can ask the, can you suggest, okay, can you suggest structure of the paper? Just side headings. Structure of the paper. So this is like a skeleton. You have to first thing you have to do this. Prepare a skeleton. Then you are filling the content. Then you have to fill the content. Look at here. First thing, introduction, correct? In the introduction, background and problem statement, research gap, research objective, theoretical contribution, practical contribution, structure of the paper. This is not required for research paper. For thesis, you can include. Then literature review. See, look at here. The themes also directly given. Sustainable AI use and conceptual foundations. So otherwise, we have to read all the articles and we have to identify themes. But here, since already hypothesis developed, so it will develop the themes. I think this is very good themes to write your literature review. Sustainable AI use and conceptual foundation. Here, I have to explain what is sustainable AI use. Conceptual foundation I have to give. Then moral suasion and behavioral ethics. The relationship between moral suasion and behavioral ethics. Relationship between norm activation theory and moral ethics. Excellent. Okay, conceptual framework and hypothesis, direct effect, mediation, moderation, methodology. Look at the methodology format. Research design, participant and experimental manipulation, manipulation check, procedure, statistical analysis, validity and reliability assessment, ethical consideration. See, even the result section, descriptive statistics first, then measurement model assessment, structural model result, mediation analysis, moderation, robustness check. Summary of findings, theoretical implication. This is very good structure. You can definitely can follow that structure. Experimental, then appendix. Very important. Most of the researcher fail to attach appendix. So if you have attached appendix, for example, experimental script, we have. I'll show the appendix of these are my appendix. One is ethical approval letter. Then variables I have considered, survey flow, then informed consent form, behavioral choice task, then control questions, uh, uh, attention check and manipulation check. Then vignette. In experimental design, there will be vignette. I'm using the vignette. So then paper. Along with the main paper, you have to attach all the supplementary files, appendix as a appendix. Measurement additional status. Okay. I can use this. But small changes I want, that is instead of in literature review and hypothesis development in one section. We'll see what themes it will give. I don't want literature review and hypothesis development as a separate section. I'll keep literature review and hypothesis development as a one section. Okay. Okay. Again, I'm not satisfied. Keep themes similar to hypothesis. Literature review, this is good. Moralization and sustainable AI use. I have to write literature related to moral suasion, and then at the end I have to propose hypothesis, moral suasion and moral non-apprehension, moral obligation. Yes, no problem. This I can keep. Then at end I have to write conceptual model summary if you want. Otherwise, you cannot remove this. This is not required. This is not required. Only 5 themes is enough for literature review. One paragraph or 200 words for each, 200 words for each. That is more than enough. And minimum, I think, 3 articles explain the relations. So three or minimum three. Okay. Maximum 5, not more than that. 3 to 5 articles you have to use to justify these hypotheses, to develop these hypotheses. Then draft part of a research proposal. You can use an AI to write research proposal. So for example, write research proposals of this. So you can, so you'll understand the structure of the research proposal and what content should be there in your research proposal. Okay. Moral identity theory. So this is the research proposal. When for PhD scholars, before finalizing your topic, normally they will ask for the research proposal. You have to present like this research proposal. Or when if you are going for the interview for the PhD, better you keep one topic and prepare research proposal like this, because in interview what happens, they normally ask, have you prepared any topic for your research or interested topic? Then if you already prepared the research proposal, so it will give what advantage for you to be select as a PhD scholar in that particular university. So prepare whenever you going for the PhD interview, prepare research proposal. Do not go empty. Take any one topic which you are interested to do in future days, or if you are interested, okay, then prepare research proposal like this and present it to the, because for this there is no any kind of checking for research proposal. Just this is just idea. This is just idea you are proposing to the doc members or the university. You can use this. Then refine or edit language or research proposal. If you are writing, you can refine the words. For example, this is a normally where most of the researcher will use for refining or editing language of the research. For example, I'll write interpretation of the study. For example, table 6 showed that there is a relation between moral suasion and sustainable AI. In bracket I write R is equal to 0.56 and p value is less than 0.005. Therefore we are failed to reject null hypothesis, which means when moral suasion increased, at 1 unit, sustainable A also increase by 0.56 unit. So this is my word. If you write like this for Scopus paper, they will the normal comment. You have to give the language used is not professional or academic. Very awkward sentence used. There should be editing by the native speaker, like this normal comment. So in the beginning of my research career, I'll lot of comments about my language, my grammar, and what about this only sentence framing, all those, and the redundancy in the sentence. But after introducing of Gen AI, I got a lot of help for framing the sentence particularly. So nowadays, because in research paper we cannot do any errors, particularly in grammars and in the understanding of the sentences. So what I do, I very carefree. I'll write my interpretation or my understanding of the paper. Then I'll copy and paste it to the generative way, and I'll give uh, rewrite this result into proper way, grammatically, and a scientific tone for publication, and give more inference if you want. Otherwise, you can keep like this one. So it will increased. Oh, no, oh, this much is too much. I'll reduce, keep one short paragraph. Yeah, I can keep this one. Table 6 reveals statistical significant positive relation but sustainable AAUs leading to rejection null hypothesis of no association. The magnitude of the correlate indicate a moderately strong relation, suggesting that higher level of morals associated with higher level of importantly correlation could reflect the strength of linear of causal effect. This is not required, I think. It does not mean 1 unit increase. Okay. This I can remove. And the squared correlation it automatically calculates because we have R value. If you take the square of R, it will become R square. The square order indicator moral solution explains. Okay, this one I can include. I'll remove this part and I'll keep from here to here, and I'll keep from here to here. Okay. So if you have more tables, table result, you can include more. So language refinement, very important nowadays. You can no worry about grammar and sentence understanding. You can write carefully. Then you can just copy paste your writing into ChatGPT and tell ChatGPT to make write it in very proper way, grammatically and academic tone. Then refine or edit content of research proposal. So if you already written, then you can use it for refining of the content. Particularly when you get comments from the reviewer, I'll show. I got one where it is. This is proofreading. Yeah, I don't think. Okay. This is the recent paper, one paper I got revision. So, for example, so normally what happens, their comments, it is very difficult to understand. Okay, what exactly they are telling, because we are a non-native speaker and they are normally native speaker. Their English will be in different level. Our English will be different level. So, I'll take one. This one. Okay, I can use this to understand the reviewer's comment. So this is the comment I have received for my paper. Can you explain what a reviewer meant? Okay, I'll use simple words and short. The reviewer means that the sentence repeats something you already explained earlier. Since you already mentioned clarity and avoiding reverse wording in the previous paragraph, this is line is unnecessary. They are suggesting to remove it, make the section shorter and avoid repetition. It is not a major critique, just a suggestion to improve conciseness. So that means I just have to remove. So when I read this comment, I normally I will not understand what he meant. Okay, but here I can easily understand what is the comment about. I just remove those line from my original paper. So this way it helps to understand the reviewer comments. Okay, it helps to understand reviewer comments all. Then help design research methodology. Okay, you can, for example, I can use this one for my experiment study. Can you explain how I can execute, how I can execute in simple words in detail. Okay. First, I already have variables, which is done, define exactly what you will test. So I'm explaining independent variable moralization that is done comparing to control a dependent variable. Okay. So for example, disclosing AI usage, limit unnecessary. Okay. Design your experimental minimum structure two groups. Two groups will be there, of course. Then student receive neutral information about AI tools. In control, I have to provide neutral information. Okay. Yes. Then for moral suasion group, I have to give short message emphasizing ethical responsibility, fairness, environmental cost, and long-term consequences of irresponsible AI usage. And third group, fact only, no moral framing. Prepare your material. Okay. And how many samples? Like I can ask how many sample size, sampling technique. Whatever questions you have, you can ask. A research approach. Then, yeah, just for how many sample size and sampling technique, research approach. Research approach, you are using quantitative experimental research approach, fine. And design randomized controlled experiment between subject design two groups, control versus moral suasion. Optional third group, informational framing. Sampling technique, participant recruitment, purposive sampling. Okay, you can use purposive sampling to recruit students who actively use AI tools. Here they are suggesting purposive sampling, and for group two, group assignment. Okay, this is recruitment. Then assignment to control group or for experiment group, I have to use simple random assignment, randomly assigned. So randomized experiment test. So therefore, this is very important. Simple random assignment. Then recruitment method, purposive group allocation, random assignment. Okay. Sample size depends on the expected effect size. We are looking for the medium effect size. Fine. Then minimum should be 128 participant, which means 64 per group. In one group, there should be 64. We have two group. One is controlled group, another one informed group or experiment group. So 64, 64. Total 124 participant, 84% power. So this one, I think power analysis, they have used power analysis. This one I already explained in my uh, workshop. Power analysis software is there here. Where is that power analysis? I think, yeah, uninstalled it seems. You can use power analysis, or here directly you can mention what is your medium effect size you are looking for. And so normally minimum 182 to 10 participant total. Recommended 240, 300 participants. Mhm. So while designing research, you can take use of say, G power analysis. They used priori power analysis. Then if you have any questions like how to select participant and how to write ethical approval letter, then informed consent, you can use for writing ethical approval letter, for writing informed consent, or for writing vignette. For example, write vignette for experimental group. So this one I have to provide. This is the experimental vignette, moral suasion condition. I have to provide this. I can directly copy and paste. I can providing to this material to the student. They have to read this particular information. Then I have to measure their behavior. So this is the experiment. This is the experiment. I provide this text and some images. Okay, and I'll explain something in words. In my study, I use three approach. One is text, another one is words. I'll explain some of the limitations of AI. Then I'll provide some images about the limitations of AI. So total three impacts on their behavior. So can you create fact data to provide students? You can provide fact data instead of you should not fabricate data the experiment. No, no, no. Okay. Recent study have shown that training the large data. This is the factor data. You can with some statistics. With some statistics. Yeah. When students read some of the statistics, so it will create more impact than just text or image. Like that, you can research design, then develop a theoretical model or conceptual framework. So you can, as I said, you can take help ChatGPT or any AI tool to develop conceptual model or theoretical model. Can you help me to create conceptual model for this study? We already know what are the independent variable and what are the dependent variable. Now just linking using this model. Okay, here they are seeing independent variable is a moral situation. Fine. Mediating is a perceived moral obligation. Okay. Dependent variable sustainable behavior. Optional secondary outcome sustainable. Okay, we'll keep one sustainable use behavior. Moderator moral identity or AI literacy or environmental concern. So they here given the relation, structure relation. I can use this to develop my model. What I have to do? For example, I have to open PPT, PowerPoint, PowerPoint. Okay, I'll open new slide, delete this new slide, and insert. First, how many variables are there? Count how many variables are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 variables. So create 5 shapes. Copy. Mediating variable. Moderating variable. Like this, you can draw conceptual model. Format. Then first, moral suasion is the independent variable. Okay, I'll copy the moral suasion. Moral suasion test. Then sustainable AI behavior is the outcome variable. Just copy and paste. This is outcome variable. Okay. Can drag it. Sustainable AI behavior. Then moral obligation is the mediating variable. Moral obligation is the mediating variable. Then what else? Sustain moral obligation to sustainable AI behavior. That is the final outcome. Okay. Moral obligation mediates okay. Identity. Moral identity moderates moral suasion and behavior. identity. This is not required. Okay. Now connect the dots. Moral suasion and sustainable AI behavior. We have to draw a line between moral suasion and sustainable first hypothesis. This is the first hypothesis. Next, second hypothesis, moral suasion and moral obligation. Moral suasion and moral suasion and moral obligation. Okay. What next? Moral obligation to sustainable behavior. Insert moral obligation to sustainable behavior. Then moral obligation that is done. Moral identity moderates moral suasion behavior. Okay. This is the moderating variable like this. So this is a conceptual model. You can use ChatGPT to draw conceptual model. This is the conceptual model of, and then you have to beautify it and just randomly develop. Okay. And moderating variable should be, this is the line should be dotted. Moderating effect should be dotted line. Okay. You can make beautiful. So this is the way. Then you can save as image file. You can keep select as image file, PNG form, GIF or PNG form, JPG form is there, JPG form or PNG form, whatever you can save. So it will be saved as a PNG or JPG form. Then you can directly import into your Word file. So that is the theoretical models or conceptual framework. You can then formalize one model for SEM. That is, then we have to use as a SEM. Then help design experiments, which is already done. I can show we have developed all this ethical approval letter we have developed using ChatGPT. Then survey flow form, how the experiment has to be taken, the flow, which is the first we have to take consent. Then we have to ask a screening question. Then we have to ask controlling questions. Then we randomly assign students into different groups. Then we'll provide a vignet or intervention. Then we'll ask attention check questions. Then we'll ask manipulation check questions. Then we'll ask mediating questions. Then behavioral choice task will be given. Then again questionnaire will be given to measure the dependent variable. Then finally we ask demographic, and at last debriefing. Debriefing is nothing but we are telling the student what we have actually done. So in the beginning, in the consent, we do not tell the students what we actually trying to measure. We just tell vaguely, like we are doing one research about AI usage. We need your opinion. That's it. But at the end, we provide entire clean detail information about our study, what we measure, and how we are going to analyze your responses, and what we do those result. So everything will be explained. So this is the flow which I generated using ChatGPT. So we can use, because it will help us to how we have to go through the experiments. Okay, how we have to go through the experiment. So this is the very important. Then in the data collection, suggest experimental parameters. Means how many times, I mean, how many conditions, like 15 to 20 minutes. How much we have to take to collect the data, 15 to 25 minutes. So normally we'll explain all our studies flow, and it will tell us how much time required to conduct that particular study. See, for example, for my study, If for conducting my study, it requires 15 to 20 minutes. Then formulate questions for surveys or interviews. This is again allowed and ethical. You can use AI tool to develop your questionnaire or scale. For example, can you provide 5 items scale to measure sustainable AI? Draw from the literature. Also provide source of literature. So I'm asking uh, item scale, 5.5 item scale, provide 5 statements of 5 point or 7 point, whatever it is, 5 point item scale to measure sustainable draw from literature. Also provide source of literature. We'll check that whether it is true or not. So it given items. First item, I use AI tools in a way that supports my learning rather than replacing my own effort. I avoid using AI unnecessarily when the task. I'll check this. I want to check this. Responsible AI and ethical use in education, enhancing reference. Provide references. Okay. Sometimes it will lie. I have to check whether it is true or not. Responsible AI and ethical use. So we'll check this whether this article exists or not. Go to Google Scholar. Okay. Go to Google Scholar. Type. Yeah. Study is there. No problem. Same study. Then that means the scale we can directly adopt. All these are there. So that then there is no problem. We can directly adopt these items into our questions. And can you prepare task to measure sustainable AI use? Again, task also we can, for this, I don't need any kind of sources. This is task or activity. Okay, this is the activity I have to give. Then conditions, then how to measure it. Measurement is given. Okay. So like this, I can use to develop questions or skills for my study. And if you already develop the scale, then you can check the understandability and redundancy in your